Before we start this video, a large thank you to Hong Yu, Raul, Devin, Frederick, Sichi, Zirki, Jason, Inacio, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, my man, Freddie, Gabriel, Alejandro, Ludwig, Stefan, and Justice for their support on Patreon. I hope you guys enjoy the video. Hello everybody, I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. So right now if we hit somebody in your game, you're going to see this HP bar, and that works. It's very functional, but there's a few problems. One, it does not face the camera. Two, it looks a little bit, I guess you could say, unpolished. So we're going to add some effects to it. We're going to make it so there is a bar behind it, like in Dark Souls, a yellow bar that appears to show the damage that was just done, and it's going to kind of fade down and match the current HP. And we're also going to add a number indication showing the actual number of the damage you just did, and that will make, it just makes the damage look nicer, and also it's really nice for actually testing weapons because then you don't need to debug log the damage. So first, I'm going to go to this health bar game object under the AI. I'm going to make it a prefab. And then inside this prefab, I'm going to just copy and paste the health bar under the health bar background game object. I'm going to rename that to yellow bar. And what we want to do then is basically go in here and just also untick raycast target on these health bars. It's actually good for performance because we're never actually clicking these. If you ever make UI that doesn't use any kind of clicks, untick that box. Really good for performance. Anyway, rename all this to yellow bar from health bar and change the fill from the color red to the color yellow or whatever color you want it, honestly. I'm going to tweak the color later. Just for now, I'll make it like that. We're probably going to change that because that's kind of ugly. Now, make sure you have the health bar fill below the yellow bar in the hierarchy. Otherwise, it'll overlap it, and that's not what we want. So it should look like this. Now, let's open up our UI AI character health bar script. And what we want to do is actually create a new script in the same folder as this one. And I'm just going to call it UI yellow bar. And I'm only going to show how to do this in this video because if you want to apply it to your character's health bar, or an aura bar and stamina bar, or sorry, focus points bar, it's the exact same logic. So this can be applied anywhere. If you want me to go over it in those other examples, I will. Just comment below. But otherwise, I'll move on to a new subject so we're not wasting time on videos doing the same thing. But if you want me to cover it on another video, just please comment below and I will. Okay, so inside of here, what we want to do in our UI yellow bar is make a public void for set max stat. So we have to set this up the exact same way as we set up our health bars. And we're going to make an integer for the max stat. And then we're going to say using Unity engine.ui so we can actually make a slider variable. Then we're going to make a serializable field just so I can see it in the inspector and make sure it's there. Slider, I'm going to call it slider. And then on set max stat, just like the health bar, we're going to say slider.maxValue equals max stat. And then slider.value is equal to max stat. So that's pretty straightforward. Now, we're going to need a few more things for this script. We're going to need a float for the timer. And this is how long the bar is going to take before it starts draining its value to match the actual health bar. So it's like a delay before it goes down. That's what gives the effect of the yellow bar behind the primary health bar. I'm going to make a UI AI character health bar variable, and we're going to call that parent health bar. And that's just the bar that sits above this in the hierarchy. And then we're going to say slider, or over it on the overlay, I guess you could say. Slider is equal to get component slider, and parent health bar is equal to get component in parent UI AI character health bar. So far it's pretty straightforward. We're just kind of getting the variable of the other health bar, and we're getting the variable of the slider. Now, let's make an update function and an onEnable function. And an onEnable, we're going to say if the timer is less than or equal to 0, let's just set it to some number. We'll try 1 for now. But we're going to probably manually set this later from the other bar, but this is just so it's not 0 when it's enabled. Then we're going to say how long you want the bar to be present before it drains. I'm probably going to, I'm going to change that comment to something more clear in a second, but let's just type up some more code. On the update function, we're going to say if the timer is less than or equal to 0, we want to drain our health. So let's just say how long you want the bar to wait before subtracting or equalizing to the parent HP bar. Because that's all this bar is. It's just delayed damage. The main bar drains right away, and this bar drains a short time after. So we're going to say if slider.value is greater than the parent health bar slider. We had to make this slider value, variable public on the parent health bar. If it's greater than parent health bar slider.value, we're going to say slider.value equals slider.value minus, we'll say 10. Definitely going to need to change this value because where this is on update, it's probably way too fast. But for now, let's just keep it at 10. Else if slider.value is less than or equal to parent health bar dot slider dot value, game object that set active is equal to false. Now, if the timer is not less or equal to 0, we're going to say timer equals timer minus time dot delta time. So basically, it's going to disable this game object as soon as it gets to the point where it's matching the HP bar of the parent. This is so we're not always running update, it's just a little bit more performant. You don't need to make this not active, but I would recommend doing so. Then back on the UI AI character health bar script, we want to make a I'm just going to put this as private, so, just for naming conventions. We're going to make a UI yellow bar variable, and then we can get that from get component in children. So we're going to say yellow bar is equal to get component in children UI yellow bar. Okay. And now let's go down and go to the update function and check some stuff out. Actually, before we go to update, under set health, let's say if yellow bar does not equal null, we are going to say yellow bar dot game object dot set active true. So every time we get damaged, we're turning on the yellow bar's game object. I'm just going to make a comment here. This triggers the onEnable method on the yellow bar, which basically will set the timer to 1 if you remember correctly. Then we're going to say, if you want to say yellow bar.timer, you can do that, but I'm not going to do that at this point in time. We're probably going to circle back and do that, but first let's just get the functionality laid out. So I'm just going to say, I'm going to erase that, and I'm going to scroll up here for a second, go over to the UI character health bar, and just say, right below where we're setting the game object to true, I'm going to say if health is greater than the slider.value. So health is the new value we're assigning to this slider. Slider.value is the previous value. We're going to say yellow bar dot slider. Need to make that public because it's private right now. So where I have serializable field, just make this public. Yellow bar dot slider dot value is equal to health. Okay. And now let's actually copy this right here and put it above. There we go. And now let's save that. Okay, now let's go over and save the prefab. We forgot to do something though. We need to actually set the max health of the yellow bar too. So under set max health, this is on UI AI character health bar. Let's say if yellow bar does not equal null, then what we want to do is actually say yellow bar dot set max stat and pass the max health. That's it. Save it. All right, now we have a problem here. For some reason, it's not fetching the yellow bar scripts. So I'm not sure why it's not doing that because I have get component in children. I'm sure there's a reason, but for now, I'm just going to make this variable public and not call it onAwake, or serialize the field rather. You do that too, which is what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to drag it in the inspector. I'm probably doing something incorrectly here, but it should have got that in get children. So I'm just going to drag this in, and I can't. Oh, I forgot to replace the health bar script on the yellow bar with the yellow bar script. So yeah, if you forgot to do that, I'm sure you did because I didn't tell you to do it. That's my bad. It will probably work on Wake, but since I'm already here, I'm just going to drag it in. And then I'm going to save the prefab. Okay, now let's go over here, and I'm actually going to make the yellow bar the same size as the red bar by holding Alt and then changing the boundaries. So if I change the dimensions of the yellow bar, or the parent bar rather, the yellow one changes. And I'm going to change that ugly color to something more bright and nice. And as you can see here too, I've made the health bar a little bit thinner. And I'm going to make it a little bit more, a little bit less longer too. So I'm just going to decrease the width of it as well, or the length rather, I suppose. Let's try something like, the width, 0.5. Yeah, that maybe 6, 7. Yeah, 7's good. All right, so that should work as intended now. I'm just going to save the prefab. And let's just test this in a moment and see if we can tweak anything. We're probably going to need to tweak the time of the decreasing time of the yellow bar behind the red bar, because I think it goes down too fast. So I'll bait the attack and hit this guy. And, yeah, that's way too fast. So we have that on 10. That's why right now. So I'm thinking because this is on update, we're probably going to need something like maybe 1 or 0.5 even. As you can see, it's going down. And also, it doesn't reset the timer when I hit him twice. That's the thing we need to fix too. So the first issue is, let's just go down here to the UI yellow bar. Actually, no, sorry, the UI AI character health bar. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a timer. And every time we get hit, we need to refresh the timer. So basically, every time the character is hit, the yellow bar time is renewed. So it doesn't decrease instantly after or as you're getting hit. So let's actually make a variable for the timer. And we can say yellow bar.timer is equal to, and then we're going to make it equal to this new timer variable that we're setting up. So serialize field, float, call it yellow bar timer if you want, or secondary bar timer. And I think 3 is a good number, so I'm just going to initialize mine at 3. And then I'm going to say yellow bar timer, or yellow bar.timer is equal to yellow bar timer. And then the timer until the bar is hit, I'm going to change that to 5. I think that's a pretty good time. You can play these values if you want to. But yeah, every time we get hit now, this will renew the timer. And that's what you want, because you don't want the yellow bar to suddenly decrease as we've been hit again. You want it just to stay there, so it stacks the damage up. So I'm going to say every time we get hit, we renew the timer. And now let's save that. We can try that out in game, make sure that's good before we move on. So I'm just going to hit this guy again, beta the attack. Now I've hit him twice. Wait a second, and yes, that is good. But again, it goes down way too fast still, so let's tweak that next. I'm going to change the 10 to, say, 0.5. And that should be fine, because this is on update, so that's going to be still pretty fast. I feel like that'll be reasonable, actually. Maybe even 1 will be fine. Let's check this out first. So I'm going to go in here again, beta the attack, and try this again. There we go. Let's hit him. 1, 2, and that's perfect, honestly. Great. That's fantastic. All right, so now that we got that done, let's actually make the HP bar face the camera, and let's also add a way to see the damage we've done. And we want the damage to stack. So if you do 65 and 65, you don't want it just to show 65. You want it to show 130. Why is this text not showing up? Let me just try to parent this. I think a long time ago when I made this HP bar, I had some scaling issues. So yeah, I do remember this. Yours probably isn't like mine, but I have a scaling issue that I'm going to fix later on. But for now, I'm just going to create a text under the health bar. And I think I need to make the size or scaling value 0.005 or 4. So let's try that. Yes, there it is. Okay. All right, so when you got your text here, put it above the bar or below, whatever you prefer. I'm going to make the color white so it's very visible. And I'm just going to, for stylistic reasons, make this the text centered. And I'm going to make the value the text value 0. And I'm going to call this recent damage. Actually, we can just call it damage because it's just going to stack. And then on the UI AI character health bar script, let's make 2 variables. One for the text variable of the text itself. I'm going to call that damage. And then we need one that's an integer that's going to keep track of the damage we've taken while the health bar is active. So again, if you take multiple sets of damage while the health bar is active, it's going to add on to itself. So if you take 65 damage and 65, it won't say 65, it will say 130. Let's change the text variable damage text so it's clear, and the integer variable we can call current damage taken. Now, on disable, we want to reset current damage taken. So current damage taken will be 0, because as we know, this game object is kind of like hidden after a certain amount of time. So this is perfect. That's a good way to reset it. We'll say resets damage taken, text pop-up when this game object is disabled. And on the set health, what we want to do is say current damage taken is equal to current damage taken plus, and then we're going to use some simple math here to determine the new damage output. Let's open up some brackets, and all it is we're going to say slider, it will be slider.value minus health. And that's it. And then we will say right below that, the damage text, we need to math f round that to integer, by the way, or else you're going to get an error. So it would be current damage taken plus math f round to int brackets slider.value minus health brackets. And then we say damage text is equal to current damage taken dot to string, and that should be good to go. Just going to drag in the damage variable here, and I'm going to change that to damage text so the name of our variable matches the game object so we're not confused. Now let's go into the game and test that again. And then I think we have to do one more thing, but this should be working fine. So if I bait out his attack and hit him, yep, you can see there it is, but it looks really strange because it's not facing the camera. So you got some backwards number action going on here. This is a very simple fix. All we're going to do is force this health bar to face the camera. So on the update function of the UI AI character health bar, we're going to say transform.lookAt, and then we're going to say transform.position. And then we're going to say plus camera.main.transform.forward. And that should make this perfect. So let's save that and go into the game again. Now let's go over to our gentleman out here. And let's bait out his attack and attack him again. I'm just going to make the screen a lot bigger just to see this is very clear because I think the preview is a little bit small. So let's go in here now and bait out this attack. There we go. Let's strike this man twice. And yep, there you go. 34 damage. So as you can see, it went from 17 to 34 because we hit him twice. And there you go, guys. So now you have a health bar that has a secondary bar effect. Looks way more polished, drains down slowly, and will display the damage you've done. This is excellent. I encourage you guys to apply this effect to your character's health bar, stamina bar, and your focus points bar if you so choose. As usual, guys, if you made it this far, a like is very much appreciated, and so is a comment, because it does genuinely help out the channel and the series so much. And a special thank you, as always, my Patreons. It is because of you I get to keep making this content, and I do love making this content. So we're going to keep adding some cool things to this project. I will see you guys in the next one. I think I'm soon going to get around to start polishing some of the more rougher edges of some features we've already done in the past. So, yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. I hope you all have a lovely week.